friends, Kelcey here at Cloud9 Workshop. Today on Cloud9, we have new friends, Lauren and Sally from Happy Place Cooking Space in Cedarburg.
Yes.
And they have brought with them some fun projects. I haven't seen them yet. So they're going to share, and then I've brought a little something too. So what have you brought? Did you bring two projects, same project? What's the story?
We brought one thing that we made, and it's, do I get to tell you what it is right now?
Yeah, open it up. Let's see. I want to jump right in.
Okay, so this is in the spirit of like this time of year. It's February, January, February. Sometimes we're thinking about Girl Scout cookies. So there's a recipe that we've been wanting to make for a while, and it's a copycat Samoa recipe.
But those, what's on the base of that?
So they're made with apple slices and then a mix of a nut butter of your choice, which I used sun butter for this because I didn't know if anybody here had allergies, so I wanted to make sure everyone could try them. Coconut, maple syrup, and vanilla, and then you drizzle it with the chocolate just like they do. So it's, my daughter ate one for breakfast and she said it was great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lucky daughter.
And these are just like, this is a great example of like the kind of things that we like to make in our classes, things that are very, I don't know, just delight, you know, they delight the senses. So I like the way these look. I'm excited about the way they taste, and we've just kind of been talking about making this in class sometimes, so we want to try it out.
So when you are making these things, do you make, you said you shared it with your daughter, is this stuff that you make all the time on your own in addition to what you teach? Are you making these types of foods, thinking of new recipes? Is that your nature? Is that what you do all the time?
All the time with my kid. I mean, I've always been cooking with my kids since they were like 2 and could, you know, be able to stand. But we're always trying to find like new ways of doing things that are maybe a little bit familiar, but maybe with a little bit of a healthier twist. Lots of jobs for kids to do. So, you know, drizzling the chocolate, stamping the core out of an apple, something that just gets them engaged in the kitchen in a positive way.
And when you're working in the kitchen, do you always like to cook with other people, or is sometimes you like to just kind of zone out? I know some people talk about like that they need bread, or they make, you know, those things by themselves.
It's like a therapeutic situation.
So is that, or are you just really more drawn to the community component of it?
I think it really depends on the situation, because I've learned that if I'm having like a really stressful week, or just like I am needing a creative outlet personally, I am like, what am I making that's going to take me like an hour plus? Like, I want a long, involved recipe that like sucks me in. And I have a couple that are my favorites, that are usually like a pasta sauce, like a really ornate Italian dinner, okay? But with my kids, I prefer that they wouldn't really be in on that. That's like, for me, that's like, I have my AirPods on, I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm making something. With my kids, I like to do stuff that there's a lot of jobs for them to do, and that I can just basically hand it off to them so that they get a chance, and we're just kind of like chatting and trying and licking and you know.
I love that.
So that's how I operate. But
no, that's great.
I would actually say the opposite.
And that's what's so great, about cooking and arts.
Like, it's when you're cooking with kids, especially, you have to have a lot of patience, right? You have to, everything takes longer because they're learning. So if we're going to be making something that takes us an hour, that's where I want them with me, because it's okay that, you know, we have to slow down. Whereas like, we need dinner on the table in 20 minutes, like I'm going to take that over, because if I have my kids help me, it's not going to take 20 minutes, and it's going to be difficult to it's hard to let go of those reins sometimes.
Both of these things make sense.
I feel like I have like set jobs that the kids can do. So it's like, if we're doing a vegetable, I know what tools I can pull out really quick. It's always a cutting board, and I'll show you a couple of the tools over here.
Oh yeah, let's see some.
So I usually have, I keep these at home. We use these in our classes. I just have set jobs to get dinner on the table that the kids can always do. But yeah, it's hard because like there's different types of cooking. There's like the functional, which is like the day-to-day, like get dinner on the table. And then for me, there's another layer of just like this enjoyment cooking, which is really like an inspirational process, like probably what you guys go through in the creative process. And then there's also a marriage of those two at times.
And I think what's interesting too, you brought along some good tools, and tools are important because I think they give you access, right? So I think what you've really zeroed in on some of your work and more recent work is that accessibility so that everyone has an opportunity to make and create in the kitchen. So specifically these two, why do you find these as being useful?
I mean, one thing that we particularly love about them is that they're not that sharp. They're not going to cut your finger if you touch the bottom of the blade here, but they're sharp enough to cut things like carrots that are really hard to cut. They're really, I think when kids are able to get there, or really anybody with who needs this type of tool, or I mean, I use this tool too. It's not just for kids, but you get a lot of power, like putting your hands up here on the handle. And I think that, you know, when anybody who is in the kitchen, when they have tools that they feel comfortable with and that they feel successpealer with, they're going to have a good experience, and then you're going to want to come back.
Show them this one too.
Very
Yeah, my favorite.
So this is a peeler, because peelers are one of the sharpest tools in the kitchen. It's essentially like a little razor blade. And so we get a little nervous with teaching people how to use peelers safely. We do use, you know, like a traditional peeler, but we found this one where you slide your fingers through and you kind of palm it so that when you have a carrot or a potato or something, your fingers are not in the way at all. And it's just kind of it's like a safer way to start practicing that skill.
Because you're learning like the pressure to apply, and something that I was gonna say, I had a thought and now it's escaping me. That was
Well, I'll mention, and then when you get your thought back, then you can share. But with tool use, I think that empowerment piece is big here at the studio too. We love to teach tools and how to use them so that they have this sort of pocket of tools. So when they get ideas, or they know how to then execute them. So skill usage and acquiring skills is really important, I think, when you're a maker, you know, whether it be in the kitchen, whether it be in the studio, whether it be in the garden, understanding your tools, how to care for your tools is really important. So can I share what I brought?
Yes, let's see it.
Okay. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Here it is. So in the theme of kitchens, I brought a project that I've done on and off, and actually my daughter made these last fall at the Kidpreneur Fair. So we have a fair in the fall where kids make their own products and they sell them at the fair. And so she took to this idea. My nephew had made them before as well. And wood burning is really fun. And it uses a small tool, and this is we're talking about tool use. Like this gets very screaming hot. So it is something that takes knowing and learning how to use, but also it's an opportunity to teach and to slow down. So you're talking about sometimes we want to do things because dinner has got to be on in 20 minutes. And then sometimes we want to make things that take a slower time. And this is a process that I feel is a slow process. And so you can see in my designs, this, you know, I use it more as repetition. And so for me doing these, it's just that over and over and over. So it's very soothing. I think very therapeutic in that way. I don't plan out an idea. I just kind of go for it. And then it's functional too. You can use this in the kitchen to cook. My daughter also made some of these. They have little air plants. Yeah, and she made this one. Again, it's that very repetitive. All it is dots and lines, dots and lines. So a lot of simple designs. Oh yeah, and I have another one, so I have some bigger ones. But you can start with just a plain wooden spoon and then just kind of continue to add. There are people who do wood burning and they're phenomenal. Their designs are incredible. It's like they're drawing with the tool. I've taken a more simplistic. So for me, I just like that more repetitive experience. I also really like the smell of wood burning. It's like campfire time.
Yes.
You know, so it's very, all those senses are engaged and it's very fun. So for me, this is a project that I don't do all the time, but I have a lot of fun with it. We do this on occasion in the studio. It is one with young children. Of course, you want supervision. And for adults, they come with different nibs or tips so that you can do different kinds of lines and dots. But you can keep it very simple. This doesn't need to be something where you're going to spend years studying, though you could. It has the potential, probably like cooking. Like you could learn these basics and cook really fun, tasty, nutritional kind of foods. Or you can do your hour-and-a-half sauce.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of overlap here, and I'm so glad that you came out to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
See you next time, friends. Do we get to try them?
Yes, I'm gonna grab one. Everyone grab one.
I want this one. Lots of chocolate.
I went heavy on the chocolate.
We do a 1, 2, 3 bite.
Yeah, This is what we do sometimes when kids are nervous to try something.
1, 2, 3.
Do it all at once.
Sally, count us off.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, bite.
You know what you're doing.
Oh, good.
Yum.
This is good stuff.
Really good.
You mentioned you could do oats instead of coconut.
If you were a nut-free family, you could do oats. There's coconut in this, and there's sun butter in this. You could use any nut butter.
Megan, I think you want one too.
Definitely.
We'll have to end the video.
Or good.